Welcome to iLecture Online. The next topic we're going to look at is source-free RCL circuits in parallel. In other words, we have an example here. We have the resistor, the inductor, and the capacitor, each in their own independent path, parallel to one another. Now we're going to start with this as an example because we're going to develop the equations from the general idea here. And then, of course, later on we'll see some examples that will look a little bit different and we'll be able to apply our general technique to the more specific techniques. But first we want to take a look and see what the convention is of how we tackle a problem like this or a situation like this. First of all, we want to understand for a resistor, an inductor, and a capacitor what the relationship is between the current through those three devices and the other items in the equation. For example, when we use Ohm's law, we realize that the current is simply the ratio of the voltage over the resistance. That's simple. So we have current as a function of the voltage and the resistance. But what about an inductor? Well, with an inductor, we start with the concept that the voltage across the inductor is proportional to the size of the inductor. The greater the size of the inductor, the greater the voltage drop across the inductor, and it's also proportional to the rate of change of the current across or through the inductor. The faster the current changes, the greater the voltage drop across the inductor. So if we take that equation and we separate the di dt from the other two variables, the voltage and the inductance like this, and then we take, then we take the dt and move it to the other side, then we can integrate across the di and integrate across the voltage times dt. On the left side we'll get the current, on the right side we get 1 over the inductance times the integral of the voltage times the change in the time. Now we start from negative infinity in time all the way to the time period where we're interested in finding the current at that moment in time. For a capacitor, we start with the definition of what the capacitance is. It's the ratio of the charge on the capacitor divided by the voltage across the capacitor. If we then take the voltage and move it to the other side of the equal sign, we get CV equals Q. And then we take the derivative of both sides of the equation with respect to time. Now, of course, the capacitance is a constant, so we have dV dt is equal to dQ dt. And of course, remember that by definition, the dQ dt is equal to the current. So essentially, we get the current is going to be equal to the capacitance times the rate of change of the voltage with respect to time. So now what we have is for the three components, the resistor, the inductor, and the capacitor, we have three equations that describe the current in terms of the voltage and of course the resistance, the inductance, and the capacitance. All right, now that we have that, we can set up an equation. The object here, notice we're going to do this in several parts. We're looking at this situation in a general sense, and we're going to start with the KCL. We're going to take the Kirchhoff current loop. In other words, we're going to start at some point in the circuit and then add up all the currents entering that point and add up all the currents leaving that point. And you know what? I'm going to reverse these two because that makes a little bit more sense in the way we write the equation. So we're going to say the currents leaving that particular point in the circuit is going to equal the currents entering that point. Now also, before we take a look at that equation and try to develop the equation, remember we're trying to find the differential equation that defines what's happening in the circuit. Now notice that we have the current running from this one point in the circuit through the resistor, through the inductor, and through the capacitor. That's by convention. Obviously, you can't have all the current emanating from a point and running through the circuit like this. The currents will have to be in different directions so that there's some current leaving and some current entering that particular branch point. But by convention, we're going to have all the currents leaving that particular branch point. Secondly, when we have an initial condition, because we will need to take into account the initial conditions in the circuit, we consider the initial voltage across the capacitor and the initial current through the inductor. So these are the two initial conditions, the voltage across the capacitor and the current through the inductor. And again, that's by convention. All right, so let's come up with our differential equation. So what are all the currents leaving? Well, we have three currents leaving: the current through the resistor, the current through the inductor, and the current through the capacitor. So we can write this as I sub R plus I sub L plus I sub C is equal to, and now notice there's no currents entering that branch point, so that's equal to 0. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take our three equations and plug them into this general equation. All right, so first, the current of the resistor is going to be the voltage across the resistance, plus the current through the inductor is going to be 1 over the inductor, inductance times the integral of minus infinity to the time of v dt. And then finally, the current through the capacitor is the capacitance times dv dt. So that would be the capacitance times dv dt, and that's going to be equal to 0. All right. Now, what we're going to do is we need to get rid of the integral sign, because it's hard to deal with integral signs like that. So let's take the derivative of both sides of the equation. So on the left side, if we take the derivative here, we get 1 over the resistance times dv dt. So again, we're going to take the derivative with respect to time. Then we get plus 1 over L times the derivative of the integral. Of course, when we take the derivative of an integral, we simply get the integrand. So it would be v times dt. And then over here, we get plus the derivative of this. That would be plus the capacitance times the second derivative of the voltage with respect to time. And of course, the derivative of 0 is still 0. Well, actually, let me take a look at that. Of course, we don't need the dt anymore, so we can simply get rid of the dt because that's part of the integrand. When we integrate, of course, the dt drops out. Okay, so what do we have now? Well, we have a differential equation of the second order. We have v, the first derivative of v, and the second derivative of v. So let's rearrange the terms, put the highest derivative first. So we have the d square v dt square times c plus this one here, which is 1 over r, times dv dt, and then plus 1 over L times v is equal to 0. And now if we divide everything by the constant in front of the second order term right here, we're going to divide everything by c. That gives us d square v of dt squared, the second derivative of the voltage with respect to time, plus 1 over RC, that looks familiar to us, times dv dt, plus 1 over LC, that looks familiar as well, times v is equal to 0. And now we have our differential equation. Oop, my pen is starting to dry up here. So now we have the differential equation that describes what's happening in this circuit. Now again, this is the convention of the circuit. We choose our currents running from the positive end of the capacitor. That's simply what we typically do. We take the positive end of the capacitor, which is up here, and we have the current flowing from that positive end of the capacitor through the three devices. We know, of course, that in actuality, when we start working this out, we have currents going in different directions, but we do this by convention. So once we have that, we set up the three equations for the current of the three devices. We then use the Kirchhoff's current convention, where we have all the currents leaving a node equals all the currents entering that node. So we have the three currents leaving, no currents entering. We set up the equation by grabbing these three and plugging it right in here. And then to get rid of the integral sign, we take the derivative of both sides so that the v dt under the integral simply becomes v. And now we end up with a differential equation. We put the highest order first, and then we get rid of the constant here by dividing everything through by c. And now we have a differential equation that we can work with that will describe what happens in there. And so we'll show you in the next videos of how to manipulate the equation and deal with it and see, because what's going to happen, of course, is since we have a resistance in the circuit, there's going to be a dampening effect, and we'll have to look at that as well. So stay tuned and we'll show you how to continue with this equation.